Good day, students, viewers alike. You're welcome to another time with us in our continuation of our lessons in commerce. I want to really welcome you another time with you. So please ensure you have your writing materials with you to be able to jot down what we discuss and what we're going to be discussing here. Use it as a point of reference when you're doing your revisions. So take notes as we go ahead. So please pay attention and be contributory according to your notes. Thank you very much. So today our topic in commerce is production. We're going to be looking at production from different angles as contained in our specific objectives. So what are we supposed to do today? Our objective for this lesson is to be able to identify the factors that determine the volume of production, then explain them, as well as highlight the factors of production and their functions. So yes, features. So let's go into it and see what we can get. So that in commerce, production refers to the process of creating goods and services that are intended for sales in the market. The process of creating goods and services that are meant to be sold, because commerce involves what? Trade and is to trade. So I have to sell and buy, or buy and sell. That is a simple analysis of commerce. Buying and selling. That is moving goods and services from one place to another to the final consumer. As you're buying and selling, that takes place as well. So that in commerce, production refers to the process of creating goods and services that are meant to be sold in the market. It encompasses the transformation of raw materials and resources into finished goods or products that satisfy consumers' needs and wants. All right? Commerce in itself encompasses the transformation of raw materials and resources into finished products that can satisfy consumers' needs and wants. So when you say production, as far as you say creation of goods, it means you are trying to transform either an existing product or a fresh one, raw materials, into another form of product that is better off satisfying the needs of the consumer. So yes, that is what we see commerce in the context of what we learned today. So you can imagine this is an image of productivity going on. The picture to the right of your view, you can imagine they are making wheels that can be used for bicycle or other wheel-related mobility or locomotives. Okay. Then to the right, to your left, you can imagine that they are actually working on either chemicals or medical related production. You can see the environment is well protected. The people who are there are also wearing some protective gears, as you can see. So they're actually into some very kind of hazardous production that warrant them to be able to kit the way they have kitted. So that's the process of conversion of raw materials or semi-finished goods to finished goods for sales that will satisfy consumers' wants and needs. Now, what are these factors that will determine the volume? How much production can take place, or how much can be produced within the production period? Under review, those factors that can initiate or facilitate this amount of production are as follows. One, capital available, or amount of capital available. You ordinarily should know when a producer has much more capital, their output volume will always be high. So the more capital that's available, the higher the volume of output or production that can take place. As well, if the amount of capital is very meager or small, it also means that the output will be small or reduced. Second point there is availability of raw materials as well. The much a company can produce will also be related to the available raw materials. If they have it in adequate supply and they can produce much as well, the volume will be increased. But they don't have inadequate, they have less than required. I mean, the output also, or volume of production will also be what? Will be reduced, less than is expected. So that's one of the things you must know if you come to volume of output or production in any productive activity. Then market size as well. Some businesses have little market size, and for that reason, they're not supposed to produce beyond the market size. If not, they will have excess supply. I know when there's excess supply, what happens? It affects the price directly. The price will definitely fall. That means there's a rise in supply as against the law, which says higher the price. Okay, so if you produce beyond the price relationship with supply quantity, what will happen? Your price will fall. So the market size determines the volume of output or volume of production. A large market size for a product will necessitate a large volume of production, but a small market size will also cause what? A small volume of production or output. So that's what it takes. Efficiency of other factors of production. Truly so, if labor is very efficient if the entrepreneur is very efficient and labor is not efficient, and other factors provided are not working to capacity, all right, you cannot expect that production volume to be high. But when everything works in perfect condition, all things being equal, labor is efficient, entrepreneur is efficient, factors, capital provided is actually working at full capacity and optimum level of productivity, of course, you can achieve higher volumes of production. Okay, so when these factors act, they act either in favor or against production. So when they're favorable in their activities or productivity, they will actually improve volume of output or production. Level of technology available. An advanced technology or up-to-date technology will increase volume of production, but an obsolete production technology will result to a lower level or volume of production. Then we have availability of storage facilities, which also encourages mass production. Where this is available, you can expect that the volume of production will be high, but where there is no storage facilities available, of course, you can't produce and keep nowhere. So you have to limit your productivity or volume of production based on what you can store. All right? If that's the case, then it affects productivity or volume of production negatively when it's not available. But when it's available, you can produce en masse and in large quantity and store in such a facility to help production increase. Then nature of the goods. Some goods are perishable, while some are durable. So if your product is perishable type of product or good, then when you produce in large volume, all right, it means that you're ready to make some losses, because if you don't sell off as at when due, they will perish and you lose both capital and profit, and that's not good for business. So what happens is that you have to know the nature of your product. If you're a producer, of course, that will help you determine by how much volume you can produce per period of production, so that you can actually sell off and make sure you don't fall at loss when they perish or when they get bad. So that is it. Nature of the product can actually determine the volume. If the goods are perishable, you produce according to demand. If the goods are not perishable, you can produce and store for future demand. So that means if the goods are not perishable, you can produce more volume. If the goods are perishable, you produce lesser volume so that you can sell off adequate time. Thank you. So here we look at the factors of production. This topic has been featuring in one time or the other in our discussion. Of course, there are various reasons why we look at it. So we have 4 basic factors of production, which is land, capital, labor, and entrepreneur. But you can see land does not necessarily mean the ground you step on. Land includes everything that grows or that comes out from ground or water bodies, all right? So all the water bodies, the swamps, the savannas, the deserts, the rocky environment, all put together are classified under land. Okay, so land includes the gift of nature, not above the sky, not in the atmosphere, but on ground. All right, so land includes the gift of nature, natural resources, not created by human effort. All resources not created by human effort is called land, but not the one in the atmosphere. All right, so take note of that. Anyone in the atmosphere is atmospheric, not land. Okay, so then you have capital. Capital cannot just be money, all right, or physical cash that is used in business. Capital includes tools, equipment, and factories used in production. Any other thing that is used by the business, either machinery or tool, plus money and other things, aside human effort, which is labor and entrepreneur, can be considered what? Capital. All right, so if they function properly, production will be high. So it includes all those things that can be used in production aside money. Money inclusive as well. That's capital. Then we have labor. Labor includes people with all their efforts and abilities to help production take place. All right, all the people and their abilities, skills and non-skilled ones, all right, put together to help production take place are called labor. Then entrepreneur, all right, are individuals who start new businesses or bring a product to the market. Those people whose decisions ensure that there's production, they take risks, right? They manage other resources. They're the ones that manage both land, labor, and capital. So they are the brain behind the success of any business. So that's it. So we'll see here, land is a free gift of nature and the oldest factor of production. Yes, land earns rent as its reward in production. Labor is the physical and mental effort of man directed towards production. All right, labor earns wages and salary as a reward for its activity in production. And capital is defined as a wealth set aside for production of more wealth. Okay, any item you have that it can be used to produce further products is called capital. So it is wealth set aside to produce more wealth, and and capital earns interest as a reward for its activities in production. Then you have entrepreneur. It's defined as a factor of production that manages or coordinates other factors of production for productive purposes, and it earns profit as its reward for production. Now let's look at the features and characteristics of these factors of production. Let's take them one at a time. For land, land is seen as supply which is fixed by nature. The supply of land is what is fixed by nature. That is, it has been there from the time the earth was created. So remember, I don't want to go into it, but God by his word spoke land into being. So land has been there from creation. So it is the oldest factor of production we can see. All right, the supply has been there. It cannot change since creation. Supply has been as it is up to today. All right. So yes, it is fixed by nature. Land is immobile. You can't create land. All right. You can't move land from one place. It's still the same land. Whenever you dump sand, you also dump it on top of what other sand that is there. So land is immobile. It's not movable. You can't carry it from your father's house and your village and bring it to town. It's not done. So land is not mobile. All right. It's immobile. It is also a free gift of nature. Nature brought it to be, so we can use it and let nature have its way when the time comes. So yes, it's a free gift of nature. You cannot claim ownership forever. A time comes you had it to be your own, but the time will also come where you let it go. So that's what I mean. It's a free gift of nature. Everybody is supposed to have a taste and a control of it when the time comes. So it's a free gift of nature. The land also, in quality and value of land, vary from one place to another. All right, land in quality and value is not the same everywhere. Okay, the price and value of land in the remote areas is not the same thing with the price and value of land in the cities and urban areas. So that makes it a feature that is unique. All right, so land has variations in value and quality, as well as quality and value in different places. It differs. All right, yes. Then imagine, okay, for example, if you're living in Port Harcourt, if you want to buy a land in the main city of Port Harcourt, you can't get any land for anything 50 million naira. It's not, you can't get it. All right, so but if you go to the remote areas, you can get as little as 5 million or less, depending on the area you're looking for it. So yes, that because of that, you see the value of land is not the same everywhere. So you move to other places like Lagos and Abuja, you have different values for land of different quality as well. So yes, we talk about quality, we talk about what land can give in terms of agriculture. Some lands don't have the manure or the value quality that they need to produce some kind of products. All right, so if you go to some other areas, they have the manure or the needed nutrients to produce some kind of products or agricultural products. So that's why we have quality which differs from different places and different areas. Then we have land is subject to diminishing returns, of course, talking about the fertility of land. Land can be fertile at a time and infertile at another time. After it's been used severally for farming, it can lose its fertility and yield lesser outputs as time goes on. All right, so land fertility can also be what? Land is what is subject to diminishing returns. You keep using a particular piece of land to produce continuously agricultural product. After a time, the yield will reduce in both size and quality. So that's why it has diminishing returns. So a reward for land is rent. Already know that. Land has no cost of production. No, because you can't produce land. It has no cost of production. It is there. All right. So land is heterogeneous. It's not the same everywhere. That's what we mean by it has different quality and values at different places. So it is what? Heterogeneous. It differs from place to place. Some you have black sand, you have red sand, you have white sand, and so on. So those are different kinds of you can see about land. And then some places are very fertile, some others are not fertile. Some are water bodies, of course. Some are what? Forest. Some are normal land, field, and so on. So it is heterogeneous, not just one type. That's what makes it what? Heterogeneous. Okay. How important is land in production? Land can be used for farming to produce crops, food and cash crop for production or for consumption. Land can also be used to produce livestock production. You can rear cattle feeding them with what? Vegetation, leaves and other fruit and so on. Fishers or fishery purposes. Land can be used for fishing purposes, whereby you can fish through the oceans and the rivers and the seas. All right, well, you can fish through them because that's also part of land. Land can also be used for wildlife conservation. All right, you can use land to preserve wild animals and other wildlife in there to avoid their extinction and to also make nature balance. Land can be used as a collateral security. People who want to obtain loan from a financial institution can also use land as a collateral security to obtain the loan. Then land can also be used for construction, all right, purposes, to build houses, to build airports, to build seaports, all right, of course, to build roads and other equipment, another structures that can help business to thrive. Then land can also be used for recreational purposes like stadium or stadia, where you play all forms of sports, football and other games. It can also be used as a pleasure, all right, for recreational. You have places like pleasure park and other parks that is used for pleasurable gathering, all right. Land can also be used to build schools, all right. Land can be used to build residential houses and also for transport purposes. So this is how important land is to us. Features of labor. Labor has various features unique to it. Labor is not fixed in supply, of course. Labor is variable in supply. It can increase or decrease. That's what is variable. Then labor is skillful. Labor has ability to produce things that wows you, that are imaginable. Labor can be very skillful, all right. Labor can be trained, okay. Labor can obtain training and become much valuable, much higher quality. Of course, you can increase the quality of labor by training labor. Okay, labor is mobile. Labor can move from place to place and from job to job, all right. Labor is what? Mobile. Labor has feelings, all right. That is, he is human. Labor has feelings. It can feel happy, it can feel sad, all right. It can react happily, it can react violently. So labor is what has feelings. Labor is emotional too, all right. So the reward for labor is wages and salary. These are the things, not exhaustive though, that you should know about labor. There's few, okay. And then labor is predictable now. Labor is not predictable, sorry. Labor is not predictable because the human mind, like we all know, is deceptive. Okay, labor is not predictable because you can't tell what's in the mind of labor at a particular time. So labor is perishable. Labor can die, all right? Labor can fall sick. Labor can depreciate in quality and become unusable, all right? Labor can perish. It's perishable. So labor is a human factor. Of course, it has to do with human input in production. Labor controls other factors of production, which is entrepreneur in this case. Labor has initiative. Labor can think. Labor can be creative. Labor can be inventive. All right. So these are the features of labor. Still not exhaustive yet. So other things you can pick up of labor. These 10 we have here so far will help us understand more about labor. Okay, you can see this is types of labor or class of labor we have. We have unskilled labor, and these are people who can serve as cleaners, right, caregivers, okay, and security guards, gardeners, and so on. Majority of them are untrained. They don't have versatile skills in a trained atmosphere. They are just something that you can do normally as a human being. So you can actually render such services and you get paid for it. So labor can be unskilled, labor can be semi-skilled, and these are people who are workers that have little form of education, or maybe high school dropouts or high school graduates. Okay, they perform jobs that require less mental effort, like office assistants and messengers and so on, as far as you can behave well and behave acceptably. After some training, you are considered as a semi-skilled labor. Then labor can be also skilled. So skilled labor is a category of people that have received high specialized formal training on a particular job. They perform jobs that require high mental effort and less physical effort, e.g. doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, these professionals, all right? These professionals, even footballers, okay? They go through training a lot, okay? So these are what? Skilled laborers, of course. Almost all sports personnel have received one form of training or the other, so they all have some level of skills, okay? So features of capital, let's look at capital. Capital has the following features. Capital is man-made to note. All capital are made by man, all right? It's man-made. Is created by human. Number 2 is that capital can change form, all right? Of course, it can change form. It can change form from cash to perishable to non-perishable to different kind of needs according to the producer's demand. So it can change form, all right? From non-perishable to perishable to tangible to intangible. So capital can be that much. So yes, capital constitutes wealth. Capital is a basic for wealth of the business. Is the business for wealth of the business. So capital is the one that can be seen or assumed to be how wealthy a company is or a person is or has become. So capital is subjected to depreciation. They can lose value over time due to wear and tear in production. Okay, that is what capital is. Capital also has interest as its reward in production. All right, so having known this, we look at the functions of the entrepreneur. All right, entrepreneurs have a lot to do in production. They bear risks of the business. They decide what is good and what is not good for the business, and so if it comes out good, I mean the risk is profitable. If it comes out bad, the risk is not profitable. All right, so that is risk taking. Any decision made by the entrepreneur must be something that can yield positive returns. That is why business succeeds. If not, business has failed. Number 2, that labor makes decision. Labor is in charge of one that decides what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, at what time, what volume of production, where to buy, how to go into what method of production to use, how many productive inputs should be used. All right. So yes, they make decisions that helps the business to succeed. All right. They coordinate other factors of production. Entrepreneur is the one that does this. They are the one that put together every other factor of production to ensure that production takes place. They measure the input adequately, all right, in equal or proper proportion to ensure that the output expected is achieved. Labor is entrepreneur ensures efficiency in management, because they have efficient management. If not, business will not thrive. So entrepreneur is the one that is in charge to ensure that work is done effectively and on time as scheduled, and is completed as when expected, and also ensures that there's distribution of this product till it gets in the hand of the consumer. Yes, that's a function of the entrepreneur. It also provides capital. Entrepreneur provides capital. Either they run the business on their own or by themselves, or they sponsor a business, provide the capital to ensure that business takes place. That is what entrepreneurs do. And believing by this few time we had together, I'm sure that you must have learned new things about the factors of production and how they support production. I'm sure that has happened. Thank you. So let's look at some possible questions that will grant us fulfillment in what we've just learned. So let's get to see. So the reward for land is what? It's what? Rents. That's what we talked about when we were going to the factors of production in terms of labor. Okay? Goods that are used to produce further goods are known as capital good. Remember, wealth is what? Wealth is wealth set aside. Sorry, capital is what? Wealth set aside to produce what? Further wealth. So, and that's what capital is. So, capital is what? Goods that are used to produce further goods are called what? Capital goods. Okay, so that's the connectivity to this answer. All right. Then we look at the process of changing raw materials to finished goods is called what? It's called manufacturing. Okay. Then also we say production ends when goods and services gets to who? When goods and services reaches the final consumer. That's the answer to that question. Okay, the reward for entrepreneur as a factor of production is what? We know it's what? Is profit. The entrepreneur makes profit for bringing in capital into the business, and afterward the reward returns on capital. A person who decides what to produce and combines the other factors of production is known as who? Entrepreneur. You see, this is exactly what we just discussed about. Then, which of the following is not a factor of production? Is it land, is it capital, is it labor, is this staffing? D is your answer. The first three are what? Are factors of production. Which of these following is classified under primary production? Is it coal mining? Is it shoemaking? Is it cloth making? Is it road construction? Mining can be called a primary product or primary production activity. Thank you. So labor and entrepreneur are examples of factors of production. Thank you so much. By this, we know that we have achieved something. Please don't forget to always visit our ExamGuide app to improve your learning, to test what you've learned or what you listened to. Please ensure you subscribe and be able to use it for personal studies to improve your proficiency in the subject, as well as prepare for your exam, because it will really help you. It has been upgraded and of currently it's more reliable, almost 100% perfect. So please go check it and make sure you do that. Thank you very much. See you in our next class.